Hi, welcome to Bonano TV's trending news and events analysis. My name is John Skasonso, and I am going to lead on this show, and my friends will join me later. Today's show, we are going to discuss a very important topic, and this topic um, is about the NDG's agenda. The NDG, we are referring to the New Dawn government's agenda uh, through the president's press conference yesterday. So we're going to take a bite at it and make an analysis of um, of that press conference. And we have some here at Bonano TV. We have summarized that press conference in 12 Ds. 12 Ds. And we will tackle them one by one and try to get to the most important takeaways of what the president was talking about yesterday regarding the updates on the agenda of the NDG, the New Dawn government. I'm glad you've tuned in, and very shortly, I will have my friends also join me. And whilst we're doing this, please share this broadcast to your friends and family, and also to others on your own Facebook page, so that we can have a substantive discussion. You're welcome to post questions if you have them, or you're just welcome to listen, if even if you don't have the questions. So we are going to summarize the press conference in 12 D's, short sentences that all of them start with a D, and we are going to explicate the points and give what we believe were the main takeaways of the president's press conference yesterday. So, in the time being, whilst you are sharing the broadcast, I am going to invite the Mlemel boys to give us an ode, a beautiful piece of Kalindula called Vakasea. Kapate to Sambenga, Marwa. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Um, uh, that was Vakase from the Mulemina Boys. Yeah. So in today's discussion, I have a friend of ours here, the Honorable Melvin Simangolwa. We will participate in this discussion, and a few more others who are able to join us. Honorable Simangolwa, hi.
Hello, how are you, Doc?
Yeah, long time no see.
Long time no see. Hey, well, at least you've been quiet. Eh?
Yeah, it was time to put in the hours for the check, for the American check. So yeah, so not complaining, but just tough work schedules and commitments to work. Yeah, but it's good to be back here. I can't see what's going on with your visual over there.
So let me just figure it out. Yeah, so I think it should be on very soon. Let me just figure it out.
Okay, okay. Put you in the background. Yeah. So in today's discussion of the NDJ's agenda through the president's press conference. As I promised you, we are going to take on this important topic in segments. And there are 12 Ds that we used to summarize what we feel the main takeaways from the president's press conference. So I will post, I'll plug in the first one, the first topic. And the first topic that we felt was a very important talking point from the point of view of the president's understanding of progress that has lifetime progress during the NDG government. It relates to the first D. The first D is the defamation of the president. Defamation of the president. Defamation of the president. That is the first D that we are going to discuss. Honorable Simangoro,
Yes, sir.
according to what the president said in yesterday's press conference, uh, uh, this issue of defamation of the president is a critical point of reference and a significant milestone that we should look at the government and think that there's been some progress made on this issue. What do you think?
Yeah, you're very right, Doc. I think he was on point just to make sure that he can raise the bar, and he was not ashamed to even sign um, uh, to clear the on that ascension of the law, and making sure that it doesn't really um, take him aback, that he should be thinking about that. So he was on point just to make sure that the opposition do not really think that he's even looking behind his shadow, that is somebody who will be able to be concerned about the defamation of the president. So I think that is a good point of analysis that you made, just to make sure that he raised the bar high.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the background of the defamation of the president law is that it has often been used to banish speaking about the head of state in less than flattering terms. Yeah, and this law has been used in the recent past by many opposition leaders or would be opposition leaders to stroke up some publicity stunts, kind of trying to become famous, not through anything, just to show that they are brave and they can go ahead and insult the head of state. Yeah, here in the United States, where I live, usually as part of the national anthem, we sing that about the land of the free and the home of the brave. The first group of people in that line, the home of the brave, is those who carry a gun on behalf of the country and go to fight wars. Yeah. So, but in our situation, the brave were those who were willing to go publicly and insult the head of state. So, without a constitutional review and without anything else, the president just worked through the authority and removed that law. So there will no longer be people who would be thought of by the public as being brave for insulting the president. So that has been taken off off the radar. So they have to find something else. So the first issue that we heard the president speak about, from the perspective of the NDG, the New Dawn government, is that
Later.
the removal of that law is
Any
an
difference
advancement
between
of the freedom of the press.
okay.
That yes, what you say can get you out of trouble, but not insulting the president. Insulting the president, you are not going to garner popularity from that. You are not going to be looked at as a hero or a courageous person for just speaking uncouth words against the head of state. So, on average and on aggregate, we have to assess and accept that it is true that just because you insult the president does not make you a hero or a brave person anymore. So we that law has stayed on the books since the founding of the republic. It was a colonial law that was inherited from the colonial government, and now it is no longer there. So in the checkbox for freedom of press concerning speaking uncouth words against the name of the president, as Professor Wabantu apa na tumutotereko kateeka twalamuchonga twamulisha mukamuka namba 12 ali apa basumangolo
Yes.
naye
Naine navikapo iyandikwewo but just like I said, he has raised the bar. He's not one kind of a person who is worried and intimidated by anyone saying anything about the president because he has nothing to hide. And he was willing to ascend to that law and sign it to say it should not be something that should be used against your opponents. And in trying to attack your opponents or to silence your opponents. So he was willing to cross that one out, and anyone can say anything because he has nothing to hide. And he is here to work for the people of Zambia and even engaging the diaspora. So, indeed, kwati ife na mwachitaba dok na ife bene kuno kwine twabichonga
naimuoko muli mwachonga tefyo
twachonga naife okwo bati kateeka nabomba ale ebomba naishibe fyala ekita
kanshi baria bonse abapumbuwa bakweteko tumasele banwine chibuku bonse nga balefa okutukakateeka bwana lale namifera
bwana lale
no one is
ero
a hero
nga balefaayo okubonfya ukutuka bakateeka to gain mileage beutabayipuleyo omulandi wakwewokwe bati is a non-existing issue that limbinga mwalandi efe wamutukokwe bati walikwata ekimono ekikulu beno ayimokwe bati nala kutwala ku kooti tairipo eyo iyo
iyo kwena kateeka kamona kakalambako but kala kamona bushe kakuipela ikona tufyalwa nako kafuma kulilesa yeah, so apo twachongapo turi bana basuma nangu twinga babana banshiwa turi bana basuma turatashapo abombere
tulatashapo abombera ero natuchonga
apo twachonga. So they use that to get political mileage so that it is no more. So now what we want is constructive answers to our country's problems. Don't become a hero out of speaking uncouth language against the president. The president has provided a platform on which everybody is to speak freely. So that's the first D from the press conference. It's the definition of the president. It's no longer on the books of the laws in the Republic of Zambia. Honorable Smangolwa, now let me put on let me introduce in the second one,
Yep.
that we also noted here as a main takeaway from that press conference.
Hmm.
The second one was the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a controversial one. First of all, before
Yeah.
I talk a lot, what do you think about the death penalty?
You know, Doc, this is a law also that has been there in time immemorial. I think since the inception of this republic, and it has been there in the time of Kaunda. It has been there in the time of Chiluba. And of course, Chiluba had attempted wanting to abolish it, but he didn't have the courage to sort of like fulfill what he was promising the people. And when the time of Mwanawasa came, it was there, but it was not even being used in any way. And it was just a law that was just idle like that and never active at any given time.
Mhm,
And then also in the time of Rupia Banda, it didn't even work. And then now, this time around,
mhm,
for demolition of the death penalty, it's
mhm,
a demonstration also of the president's commitment to
mhm,
ensure that he can bring sanity kuli
mhm,
chichalo. And nikateka ulero leshokobo kwebati, he does not only look at life just outside prison, but making sure that even when one has offended and they are incarcerated, does not mean they can be condemned to death, but they can still be given an opportunity to reform. And
mhm,
especially that our prisons this time around, they are in a reformatory uh, stage where they are focusing on reforming the prisoners rather than the punishment part.
mhm.
So if you Kateka watch today abolishing that law, it is one aspect that demonstrates his commitment to unite this nation and make sure that we can make progressive laws that will be able to enhance everyone and bring everyone on board.
Yeah, my friend Honorable Simangolwa has applauded this one. Now, me, my position is different. We don't always agree on this platform.
Yeah.
The president looks at the many years that have gone into lobbying, into abolishing the death penalty. There's been a movement worldwide that has argued that the death penalty does not comport with the purpose of the correction facilities, that a person who commits a crime must be able to be sufficiently punished so that they can be able to be given time to reform and become a better person of society and be reintegrated in. Yeah, so to this effect, they didn't do again the constitutional review. They just went and picked out what they believe is a bad law, like defamation of the president, and removed it. So now, if you look at the things that I refer, my personal position is that that was a wrong move, and I am an advocate of the death penalty, especially for Mukukulu, Abepa Yabantu. Because the life of the man ought to be sacred. Just a moment here. Let me welcome my beloved father from the eternal capital city of our faith, Rome. Yama bapombomo isen mumpati.
Eya mukwayi mulishani mukwayi mwabombeni
Endita baposheni kona ba honorable Simangolo.
Honorable Simangolo mulishani mwabombeni mukwayi.
Wekuku mkwai twamisengera twamipokerera. It is good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you, Doctor, for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. So no bachin twarilile inachilala ndapali intwan pali death penalty. There has been a movement around the world to abolish this because many scholars and many researchers have felt that it does not comport well with the purposes of the correctional aspect of justice, because it's terminal in nature. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying that we don't always agree on these issues. Me, I am pro death penalty, especially for those who take a life. That's just my feelings. I don't have any elaborate intellectual aspect to it. I just felt that ingawaya chekaka nani kamuno koshi na iwo wine tufetu wako tumakwalesa. So that is just my feelings. So to achilanda pari defamation of the president, tuleko kama D's, not to summarize press conference about President Muma D's. So to achambira pari defamation bari cancer. So Takuyama heroes showing that they are brave by insulting president and getting arrested for it. And then Patu Alando Kwewati ni death penalty. So Vasmangolo Navatasha ati the long-awaited thing, even me have acknowledged it's a long-awaited proposition for the abolition of the death penalty in Zambia, but I do not agree to score it because I don't believe that the death penalty should be abolished all round. Kuliko bamwe abanensu abakwe bati ni bamukukulu so bafire babokula bombelwapo no kubatuma kwalesa nga at least nga bawumu nabo akanyota bamwipaya bafire twabatuma kwalesa badya. So but that one I don't agree, but I don't know mweba nandi if I'm ready on talking about Mangolo na support uteko, and I have to be honest, there are many scholars and a lot of research that backs that position up. So from the perspective of research, that is the right thing to do. But in conscious yadiro mutima wandi na ukani nako bamukukuru tufe tureba tumakwalesa mulela ndaposhani ba Robi Mwaisen
mkwai badishani ba mwe kombe ya mfumu kwai na totira mkwai ba professor wa bonse professor Dr. Kasonso kabidi nami posha ba baona de Bosimangolwa kabidi na posha na bakanabesa aba bakanabesa mkwai nami posha mkwai
mupati from
mupatiri wa Chrome nami cherira mkwai kanabesa mulopwe mkwai
akwe batamuno ni muparape ne baratupera kunechi muno
mkwai bafile batumina ko whisky ya ku rom mkwai ati ali suswa
mwatuka nensele kuromu takwa wa whisky ya kuyuke.
Oh, okay. Natasha mkwai.
Kuromu twakwata grappa.
Na totera mkwai. Mkwai na totera mkwai to be invited on this to be hosted by Professor Kasonso. Mkwai yesterday ngefe bachilanda ba Professor Kasonso to alikwete press briefing na bakanabesa our beloved Mr. President, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema Mkwai bali kweta ma points ayengi oyo bashire tola wilapo, and then he is one of the first presidents in the whole entire world, including America, to invite freelance questions from people. Lolo twalikweta ma questions akwati umuntu asabe pusho kwati you have been cited to be full of rhetoric press briefings and yet you do nothing. Bakanabesa ba president balitampulo kusaba ula ukwabula okuchenewa namakadas nabo tabachene kweyo bayishire mu mpwa bwino pantu ubuteko ubuchi bakasonzo Basimangola ubuteko ubuchi obo twale efwaya ubuchi
nonga ba Robi
mkwaye
natulanda ko pama dizi abili
mkwaye
president na
yes
as two of the most important issues that relate to the rule of law as the president and the NDG government, the new Dawn government, maybe that was NDG, but PF to NPF, Notorious Patriotic Front, but that's never NDG. So, defamation na death penalty. Echo tumupush.
Mone ni kanabesa. Death penalty. Umufyashwa mano. Atiro okwebati, let us cancel that. I support okwebati death penalty fili ya fumapu. Elo defamation character aisa ifumi hapo. Elo mbaba mkukulu bamonekela. Mwamona? Baisa paluelele. It's like, you know, Kanavesa, let me tell you, kwadi ba George Rwandamina mwaliwesha ni ba coach, edo bali coaching hapo na Zambian team, wine. Ba Rwandamina ba George Rwandamina ba no palinda kai bali at the moment badina ba Zesco.
Twalitola pona bola ya wave.
Mwamona nombe wa Kanavesa ba priest. Ba George Rwandamina ba tiro kwe bati, let us invite the enemy and entertaining him mu 18, but file twakosa mu 18 so that anga bonse baisa mu 18 ero twadunna chidunu pum chaya kuntanshi ero twaingisha bola
iyo tuita tikatanacio defense iyo twabomye babaya Leverkusen mailo pamwabo ku German twabawina no kubawina Roma adina muri final.
Yes. So Cannabis, yes, that's what the president has done. Aveta ukati iseni mustigen ka defamation akafumya hapo wale baletukana bakapukola twala tubekate ati yo balekeni ati yo nabo mitukana sana bakadatura tubome ati yo balekeni ero masalite ukati no, I'm governing. This is what I've brought about. This is what my government has brought about. This is what elo bala umva no Bensoni. Bale umva Bensoni beka tape pamenso. Mwadish Bensoni emkwai.
We have heard you are a praise singer. So number three party. Father, mleti portion pale defamation in a death penalty.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the very noble topics, and being a Zambian who love the country, I love my country, and I have had this opportunity to come and see another world, especially in Europe, but in particular in Italy. Your question, Dr. Kasonso, would bring me back to reflect on what this country has decided. This country, Italy, has decided they have decided to abolish the death penalty. Italy doesn't have a death penalty. They would give you 70 years of imprisonment, 150 years of imprisonment, and things like that. So what they do is they give you the years, they calculate. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a judge, so I don't know how they calculate. But in Italy, you know that we have one of the famous mafias in the world, 'Ndrangheta, Camorra, and all those mafias. They kill. These people, they are not like the Zambian thieves. In Zambia, they just steal. In Zambia, thank God, up to now, we don't have criminals, heavy criminals that we have in Italy. In Italy, we have people, I'm not going to tell you what they do, but we have really terrible people. But now here in Italy, what do? They have, for those criminals, they have what is called double penalty, and then they will judge you for 150 years to serve. When they judge you 150 years, what happens is, if I'm about 50 years now, if I die, I have to serve 150 years. My tomb is not going to be free until I finish my service. So even when I'm buried.
Father, let me just ask you a question. So since me akaidingita kwabo kufika kuri 50. So ichecha kwa watu sentence kuri 50 nishinangu Yesu Kristo abwela washuka kuti balomba kwa ile ishereko.
Yes, that's the law. Dr. Kasonso, that is a law. That's what I wanted to say. If they charge you 120 years to serve, it means when you serve 30 years during your lifetime, then they have to continue the serving of that sentence. Even they call it in Latin, they call it post-mortem. You serve the sentence post-mortem.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, thank you. So what we have done here is to summarize the president's press conference in his main talking points.
Let me just say one word on the defamation of the character of the president. I think the president was very smart, because we need our Zambian people. We need, I think, of course, our country to be a bit matured as well, because Dr. Kasonso, as you know, and I think Honorable, I can see there is Honorable and my dear friend on the other side. I'm sorry, I don't remember your names, but I'll soon master your names. But I think, Dr. Kasonso, it's time we are treated as matured. So if we are matured, those laws which were colonial laws to punish the Zambian people who never went to school, Dr. Kasonso, our people were prived of education. This one is history. I'm not just trying to do rhetoric. I'm not doing rhetoric. I'm trying to be very concrete, because this is history. So without education, our people never understood what it meant. So it was just a method to really get hold of our people. So the president was very smart. President Hakainde Hichilema was smart to remove this this law, and was smart, I would say he was brave enough to remove the death sentence, because it's quite easy to penalize a criminal with death sentence.
Thank you, Father. So
excellent.
To you, all our viewers, I want you to know that the panel of discussants I have here, the three of them both endorse the cancellation of the defamation of the president and the death penalty. I am the only one who withheld my endorsement on the death penalty. So now tutonse tubiri tulipo twachongapo the president and his people concerning the rule of law. Now, we have to also reflect on what the president is pushing as a rule of law. He is saying basically that if we don't have our ducks in a row for the rule of law, the people are not able to fear committing crime, to fear the government, that if you commit crimes, they are going to be punished. Everything else will become chaos. In that same line, the president discussed the prosecution, the attempt to prosecute the former first lady for her activity concerning her $400,000 and the motor vehicles and houses that were bought out of that. Yeah.
The total annex.
Yeah. So in this particular case, everything that we're talking about has a context. And the context in this is, like, I have a young man in my, who came into my inbox and he started defaming me to me. I said, no, tawandishivaiwe. Tawandishivaiwe. Takwava iwe wekatiri wa mkulu minenkalamu. Muno mwene mu inbox na lakudiringa. So palasta ajimba wewe takwete character no ni kwata character date wise panopanganda pamwandi mu inbox muno mwene muno echikushino kusho takwete nechinso takwete neshina iwole mina iwole bulumine nkalamu yakwalesa yo ndekudiringa. So anyway, but the end of that conversation was that this complaint that the law enforcement agencies, in the name of the rule of law, should have not gone to the president's house, should have not done that. What do you think about that issue, my colleagues? Let me start with Honorable Simangolo.
Well, thank you very much, Doc. I think the president is very much on point. I think there are a number of things that he was able to refer to, especially with the question that Frank Ntubila, one of the senior journalists, had asked him with regard to the section of society beginning to say that the former president is being persecuted, but he was on point to say, look, I am a president here and I've got no hand in whatever is happening. But what we are allowing is a rule of law. When there is a concern from any citizen of this republic and they go to the police and they complain that I have this issue at hand, it doesn't matter who is involved, but the law must be applied fairly. And when that citizen had complained to the police that he had their property confiscated, and also their title deed, their vehicles, and also they were highly molested and traumatized. So it is the police duty now to apply the law according to the investigations that are coming. So they will do their due diligence and find out. It doesn't matter. Unfortunately, the person now who was discovered to be involved was the former president. So it is now looking at the law at hand and not the person who is involved. And the law must be applied fairly. I think he was on point to begin to illustrate the fact that number one, he had no hand in it. Number two, he was also protecting every citizen of this republic, irregardless of their status. And this is where now the rule of law applies. The law is blind. It doesn't matter who is involved, but the law must be applied fairly to anyone as long as there is a complaint that has come. It doesn't matter whether it falls on a very high-profiled person, but the law must be applied fairly.
Thank you, Honorable Simangolo, for that elaborate summary. Yeah. So, Nomba Marobi, think about it.
Wow.
Think about it and tell us your thoughts on the rule of law under the NDG. Are they applying it fairly?
Wow. Professor Kasonso, in the first place, thank you very much for this opportunity to, add my view on the NDG, regardless to the PF and the NPF, what happened, in the first place, in the press briefing, the president was categorical. Of course, he allowed questions that were very full of tear gas. You get my point?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the questions are the first times of its kind in the history of Zambia since independence, where a president is tear gassed right in his presence while everyone is watching, and he says it's okay. He said, I talked to him. He said, I talked to him. But what he says outside, bemuses me. He says he is allowed to go for jogging. I don't attack him. He says he interacts with people. I don't interfere in that. At his residence, he experienced a robbery. I sent people to investigate the matter. It happened that it was the people that are working with him that robbed him. This man.
So the people who had stolen the television from Mr. Lungu, vonka vatu varara avakurika eshiko panse yang'anda kwatina vakuchiriro
bantangi mvwai bangikaji mvwai mwevekala chalo mfweni vakateka vanati pushed security, state security ponkapa panzo pawo. Pano ponkava bajinga ponkava baswisha bakabwarara batwera munzo ne kwiba television kimwezi mwezi kinji mwezi
Bakurumpe nanchi ba PF, they just don't steal from the citizen, they even steal from each other.
Ndamakaro wambamba abe bantu be bakataja bakataja mwine bamufuncha kibembamba ni bamukukulu beba bamwibira mwine wambamba abe bantu baye batwera munzo ne kusenda. Can you imagine television kumusenda kufuna kibumba kwikifuma pum kumutupura pum television ne kunyema kapera kamukonkora
ine mvai bakuru abo butwara worship. Let's listen to the father so that we can have some holiness on the criminals. Father Pombo, what are you saying about the overall aspect of law and order in the country?
Thank you very much. I think this is a very good platform to also speak about, what they are attributing to the clergy in Zambia, Dr. Kasonso, Honorable Simangolua, and Mr. Roby. I think we have heard after incidences, they would say, well, maybe the church is not doing enough. It's a question. I have my own answer. I'm going to put it on a hold. If I'm going to be given the possibility to give this answer, I'll come in. Let me just say about what happened with the rule of law. Dr. Sonso, we know where we are coming from. Myself, I am not a supporter. I'm not a political supporter. I am a Zambian. I love Zambia. I love to participate. I've participated when it was very critical. Dr. Kasonso, you know this. When it was critical, when they would call us names, I came out. The only priest who came out on the air, everyone was telling me, my family were scared. This is the truth. My family was scared, and then I came out. So now the question is this. President Hakainde Hichilema sometimes is surprising me. He has quite courage. He's got courage to leave the journalists to ask him questions that he has not confirmed. Because normally, even for me, when journalists they come to me, Dr. Kasonso, I tell them, well, what is the question? And then they give me the question and I answer the question. I don't know, Honorable Simangalwa, whether I'm just exaggerating, but when we are public figures, you have to prepare yourself, and I don't want a surprise. So this President Hakainde Hichilema, this president is very strong.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Father.
Let me just finish this.
Progress.
If I can tell you something which is very strange, it's this. If this gentleman continues like this, my question is, how are the Zambian people going to allow him to resign after 10 years?
That's the question we're asking, because our opposition, vale patient sala, but instead they wale taichechi. After no sala, ena is a billion. Yeah, it's a billion.
That's my question.
Thank you.
What is going to happen after 10 years? Who is going to remove him from there? If he's going to work like this.
In fact, the president mentioned the job he covets when he retires from politics. Did you guys hear it?
Yes, I heard that, but listen, Dr. Kasonso, Dr. Kasonso, I heard about that.
Yeah, let's go to the third issue. Just write that down, and then you can pick back it on the next point. Let's move on. We have got 12 points tonight, and we have to finish them in time. So we have only done 2 so far. So the second one, the third one is debt resolution. So all of our 12 points are starting with a D. So and on this D, we are saying the president talked about debt resolution. When it comes to the date that Zambia is owing other countries, that is the real crisis of Zambia. Our opposition okulanda balanda bo pankongole balese kafati oh nafilo kusolve nkongole afire ya ku China afire ya Tishan.
Inson.
Let me say this pari in Kongole before you my colleagues comment on it. In Kongole ya Zambia baide Kongola kuma Chinese elo bashike ndalama muilo wana mufikuru. And those ifikurwa tafyafunyeshije ndalama ko batuperi aba nawo. So amachinese elo baisat lete ni $dollars yeso balungu echo bachite kubutsira ku China baya papata yo tupereniko debt forgiveness elo amachinese bakana ati debt ku China tabachita forgive ama offenses. So tupere chalo yo tufunye mwendala mashes avena Zambia ero bati na katala mukiro ama Chinese na mafunde ya bwa kwetu walifanya fyaka no kukuputura kwa kanyoto beze control Zambia ero bali ero baleta po NDG. So NDG kubutukira ku west NDG kubutukira ku west you know is to involve other parties so that to negotiate in Congole. No one wants to go or Congore ali kolelwe. And then the lama shimbia could either of ye ishingia nwini nefe navana mayo.
No pera maslay queen.
Kavi levana mayo venya. So kale panshi ishin Congole to the pila kopano no pano kovati chalo chikwateko platform. So, effort chari parishi in Congole. So we are a nation in crisis. Ero after Bakongola, Bachana default, Ero Valabu that we never were Chinese. Kutibaku Temama Chinese were Congole and Damashawa Firo Kuripira. Tefio global economy bombefio. So number Bala Museka Teka, you alea Bukupapata, you alea Mukulombefi, you alea Mukuchitefi, ale Munuko Pokonshavan. But Balavene, Bacha Kolova Congole and Dalama. Shimbi bakula bofikulu efishinga funye ndalama shimbi banwina shimbi bapela bana mayo mweba nandi just before you come in let me welcome an important person here. That is Mr. Kasonso, a doctoral student with one of the great universities here, and
is your brother?
Yes, is
Newton.
Yeah, so Kasonso boy.
Oh, Mwane, thank you, Mwane. And how are you, panelists?
Oh, my father.
Thank you,
Asante Mwane.
Mwane, thank you, Mwane.
So, Wakasonso, I'll come back to you, but let me go to Mr. Simangola on the debt resolution issue. What is there for you to say?
Yeah, thank you very much, Doc, and also welcome, Doc, to this fora. And
we wait a Doc Malawa Tumpika. Tabala Pasa Kunama subject, Tabala Kanapa comprehensive exam.
He's a student.
He's a doctoral student. So
thank you so much for the honor.
Remwan. Ine Kasonso ikala tunzo. Newton, keep quiet. Let's see the
Mangolo. Go ahead, Mr. Kasonso. We'll come back to Mr. Kasonso.
Ine tuzakurondera byomwa kwamba. So atema tena kurondera mwa kwamba ba doctor. So Dr. Kasonso, you're welcome.
Thank you. I know I'm welcome. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes. So, go ahead. Thank you very much, Doc. I think this issue for this mkukulu abashikwete fya kulanda, insoni ubuntu But some people fail to acknowledge they are wrong. There are people that even when they know that they have done anything wrong, nangu nao bekata nomu nani mukanwa. Kuti wasata mpokula kukanino kwe but ine usheni nchimapo ine. You know, usheni nchimapo. Awe ine na chila mfuafe sort. But you find that somebody is with a piece of meat in their mouth. So when they have seen that their colleague has a strategy to engage people to help him restructure this date, now they are worried that this thing is going to be sorted out in a way that we did not even imagine that this date is going to be sorted out. It remained something that troubled them to say, hey, we have left a huge debt. And they keep crying to say, no, we know the strategy. What strategy do they know? How can you send the same people that borrowed to say, go and negotiate for this debt restructuring? No, you go to China. We want you to go to China. He knows and he understands, and he was very categorical to even say that, look, even the president of China, he has a line of people that would want to see him. You don't just wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to China, I'm going to see the president. I'm also a president of Zambia. No, there are appointments that have to be fulfilled. And he has said it very clear to say that one is coming. And it's not that when we are engaging the West, then we are neglecting the Chinese. No, he is committed to ensure that this debt can be restructured in order for us to have a breather and grow this economy.
That is so good. You know, I may just add that, yes, we're a nation in crisis. The president made it very clear that he is following a pragmatic approach. A pragmatic approach means what is feasible, what is possible, what we can do about it. So he said there's no loyalty to ideology. You if you are capitalist, or if you are socialist, if you are communist, if you are humanism, if you are Christianist, if you are communist, if you are town. She was the president. Na ka ne vitale fire. But Robbie, let's push on party debt resolution before we finalize.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kasonso. You know, Nasanta sana, bankaj wonse umvai, terekai. The president understands Zambia very well. And I like it that the priest, our father from Italy right now, said the country is immature. So immature. I picked that. But father, kudos to that. We are immature. Patari, because even the president is saying, did you know what he did during the press briefing? He brought a whiteboard, beamed he beamed something on the screen, and he started explaining things in simplicity. And he said, I want to take you from where we're coming from. And he had to go back into Kaunda era, up to Ndakai. And he said, this is the reason why I am doing what I'm doing. He had to explain. But the country is so immature. They can't see the knowledge that he was explaining there. Pictorial information that he brought was not well understood. Therefore, Bonano TV has a huge task to dismantle the simplicity, to bring it into simplicity. So that a person who is komboniki and the middle person, amajerabo, but they understand what the president is understand, because Abanesu, our more opposition, the opposition people, do not understand these things. They want to blindfold these guys who do not perceive information, but they believe in tantamen. And he's trying to explain to them to say that money noko tufumine, noko tudea. But then Mr. blindfold that we have built infrastructure. That infrastructure you are seeing has brought more debt, yet we appreciate it, yes. Yet we appreciate the infrastructure.
Wow,
My infrastructure appreciate. Look back, Dr. Kasonso. Look what that's a minute what Dr. Kasonso. Pano nothing. What I'm trying to say is that it is on us. It is on us to make sure that the president explained on the debt structure. He said, we got this in order to reduce certain things. We have brought internal controls. Vroom, vroom, ni 2 liters fuel yapwa. Ishi nyotoke situation kusteta. Nafikans, anganadistre, if I approved, I am sorry, I have cancelled. Let these things come back and we start all over again to make sure that the controls are firm. But priest, mwala nsuminisha. Nantukwata bambyama politicians, abalilanda padi bakateka, they are priests and the former priests. Some of them bafu minimu seminary. Tatu abalumbira mashina. They are noisemakers, Professor Kasonso. They are distractors to progress into this country. We will not buy that. But alas, ichalo natukwata basambirire nabale umfwa. Those who are well to do and understanding issues will not buy into that. I'm grateful. Shaye-san, I'm so thankful. Professor Kasonso, back to you.
Oh, thank you. Hello, Vazori, we have a lady, so I wanted to see if she has something to say. Vazori, are you there? Zoria? Okay, Vazoria Tavalaisa Patavala ready, but I think Vale Kutika from background. Yeah, and Vakasonso, London for Naimupadi date resolution ya kwa kateka before tatura isa privakad.
Na chiva kicked out. I don't know Mlandwa wa internet.
Umulandu utamulaba wa doctor.
Muletambira ku isoko Mr. Kasonso naba mpera kale doctor bafyala benu basimangola tawale fa kono kwikata ukaza mu program bamifika ne chakufwala nintepeshita
Ndi ku California kono. So Nachuba kicked out, so I will pass the chance and listen more. Then I launch to contribute next.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Father, Landino Party date resolution of our president.
Dr. Song, thank you very much, and thank you the whole panel. I thank God that have been in Italy for so long time. And so even I have some friends, the Chinese friends here. I have Chinese friends. I have different friends coming from different countries. So regarding the Chinese, why the Chinese? Well, gentlemen on this panel, let's just ask ourselves a question. America is spending something close to 1 billion in 1 month to sustain the fight against the war in Ukraine. Am I Honorable Simangalwa? You can help me if I'm correct. The American government is sustaining Ukraine in their fight to defend their country. They are sustaining them and they are giving them something like 1 billion United States dollars in a month, or in 2 months, or in 3 months. And Zambia has only 1.5 billion debt to China. 1.5 billion debt to China. Gentlemen.
But Father, listen to me.
Yes.
In Congo, Zambia, China.
Yeah.
5 billion.
5 billion?
Oh, yeah. Chinese. In fact, they are in 6 billion. No.
Oh, sorry. Then I didn't answer. But then also my statistics as well, Doctor, can suit well. If in 1 month, America and Europe, they can put together their resources, summing up to something like $1 billion in a month or in 2 months. My question is, sorry, I don't want, I sympathize with people who are under war, for sure. But the question is this, if the people can sympathize with a nation under war, giving them that much money, and Zambia coming out from a government which was a bit reckless, I would say, because PF was a little bit reckless. Why can't the world sympathize with our president? Just like he's saying, he went to Europe, he went to the United States, he went to France, he went to many countries and he said, I was not there. Help me solve this debt burden. So I am not going to give the answer. I'm just asking a question. How come these nations, they cannot come in favor with us to help this gentleman who was not there? That's one. Second, China, 5 billion, 10 billion, 20 billion, you can call it. They don't have a problem to cancel such type of an amount. Okay, ndande kofe muchibemba nshala ndi muchunguli mbale tumfu.
China
China Tony umfwen limbale tumfu. Question is, ba China tabale fire, ba China tabafire pa table ukuchina cancel. Ukuchita cancel ma debt kuzambe pantu ba China umfwen mwe bantu bakwalesi. Method yawa China yakoba ti amalandi takwawa China tawawa amalandi ama resources yambo kushupa ukuli ama resources ni kwa Africa bonse abantu nabeshi bateba China beka maumfwe ba America imo bakatokera sonso na mwisho ba America nabeshi kwa Africa na nomba natupata ma resources ba Europe nabeshi bonse baliranda 10 kwa Africa 10 tulande na bena Africa ama resources yoko yali tema resources yeka na land natukwata mwe bantu kuno kwali wa buildings, there is no land anymore kwa Africa land eko ili ama resources they are there bonse balaisa kusa mutupapata belele ilana ali mu grade 5 twalaita belele papata belele shani nali kutemwa ya enough person efile chitika nomba ba China. If I can ask a question, China has not a problem. Tabako a problem. You have to delete $5 billion for Zambia so that the relationship can continue. Mwebantu nomba muchibemba nalalanda muchibemba. Efe balefa ama Chinese. Fyadi tampano okuchitika mu Zambia. Ba Dr. Kasonso. Ba Honorable Simangolwa, Mr. Robbie. Fyadi ambo okuchitika kale mu Zambia. Ba China for the farm Zambian land. Ba UK tababula po land mu Zambia ti Chinatown tabakwata mu Zambia not kwata kale town not kwata kale Chinatown mu Zambia land ba China bale for land mu Africa land and land.
Father Twatotela for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So let's summarize the issue at debt resolution. We are a nation in crisis. Everyone if demand that can put the money because who take bali bushira mara yambushi mumukoshi Kongole. Hello, the pragmatic approach is there's no loyalty to ideology to resolve the debt crisis. That's what the president said. So the thing is, it's a practical approach. You work with the Chinese to resolve a Chinese problem. You work with the Europeans to resolve a European problem. So now let's go ahead. We're gonna have to move a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and speak about the fourth B. Let's go ahead and speak about the fourth B. And there is a fourth D. It's the delivery unit, the presidential implementation plan. Basically, the president has appointed a group of professionals that to be his eyes to go and look at implementation plans of government policies government-wide. No, what supervise ministers, my departments, because they are speaking on behalf of the president. So the president defended the idea of the delivery unit that this group is a necessary part of government implementation policy. In my profession as an accountant, here are some of the fundamentals that we believe. Number one, what is expected never gets done. And number two, what is inspected is what gets done. So from my perspective as an accountant, I think this is a brilliant idea. Although we are yet to see the results of their work, but it seems to me that the delivery unit under the president is some group that takes back progress to the president. And the president is putting that in his corner as an achievement. Honorable, okay, Robbie is the first who wants to go on that. So let's go.
Yes, thank you so much. I want to say something that, and then next I give it to Basmangolo. Okay. During the press briefing, there was a journalist who, regarding your point, Dr. Kasonso, asked the president to say, people say that whatever you say in terms of press briefings and addressing the nation, updates, and the like are full of rhetoric. Dr. Smangolo, Mr. Smangolo, Chair. That question, a lot of people are saying that if it was in the other regime, amapanga yanga according to a president ati kwa namalegeni yadya n'okudira omuntu lya bamupepeka n'okumupepeka. What is your say, Mr. Smangolo?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I think one of the things that we have to applaud this President Hakainde Hichilema, is the fact that he is not intimidated. When you know what you are doing, you will not be shaken by somebody calling you a name, and you brush it aside. It's not something that you divest from the main point and you begin to focus on either whether you are called, your speech is a rhetoric or what. But the fact that, look, he has developed this delivery unit. He has put in place the delivery unit to demonstrate or explain to the whole nation what achievement the NDG will have made at any particular time. This was constituted, I think, in 1 year, 3 months, or 1 year, 5 months. And he was very categorical to say, look, I'm here to put this unit so that these people can begin to explain to the whole nation of what achievements the new Dawn government has made. It doesn't need to be me every time talking about what we have done, but let other people be able to disseminate information, even in the simplest terms and language, to the grassroots that will need to understand. And that's why the delivery unit has been put in place to help the presidential implementation plan to be actualized. And that's where he's not intimidated by any sections of society that may begin to say any negatives. And he will not be deceived and derived from the main agenda and the focus of developing this economy. So that's my take. In hearing such a question coming from a journalist and calling him to say, look, the opponents are saying what you say just remains in talking. But there are practical things, pragmatic things that needs to be looked at. Let me just finish this point, though. It's very important that people appreciate what has been done. He was taking time to even remind the whole nation from where we are coming from, where we are, and where we hope to be. Even reminding the whole nation to say, do you want us to go back to where we were? So it's a food for thought for every loving Zambian that loves this nation to be able to think about what is being done by the New Dawn government.
Yeah, you see, Honorable Smangolo, I appreciate your comment so much. Yeah, but what I'm trying to talk about is the delivery unit under the president. What is the necessity of that group? And do you see that group as helping?
Okay, so maybe the question could have come in that way, whether this group that has been established, the first thing that we need to acknowledge is that there is this group that has been established. That's number one. That's the first step. And this group has been given a mandate to be able to share the presidential implementation plan to the whole nation. So that question then comes in as a rider to say, is it being effective?
Yes.
So this is the part that we now need to begin to monitor whether this group is effective. So far, they have just been constituted and they have been given the mandate to begin to explain what the New Dawn government has achieved so far. So we are yet to see.
We're yet to see the results. Yeah, but I think that it's a brilliant idea for the president to have a group of people who are his eyes on every ministry.
Yeah.
And you see, it follows on from our concept as accountants that what is expected hardly gets done. What is expected will always get done. So let's go to the topic of diplomacy. The president, that's the fifth D. We are going by the Ds. So the number 5D is diplomacy. The president spoke about.
I had something to say about the last question.
Okay, just hold on, Mr. Kasonso. You're coming in. Let me explain this point and then I'll bring you on.
No, Dr. Sonso, I think next time you should reduce the topics. We need to participate, all of us.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but we
Thank you.
summarized the whole press conference, so we have to cover
Thank you. Thank you.
every
No,
bit.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, and we don't have a full day to stay here. We have some people. I can see Robbie is trying to go back to his Chardonnay. So, so anyway, diplomacy. You can write down your notes and then you can combine 2 points. There's nothing wrong with that. You will have your time. So diplomacy. The president's approach is to focus diplomacy on beneficial economic relationships and realizing investments. What do you think about this? Further, last point you didn't speak. Let's start with Mr. Kasonso. You can combine the previous point with this point, and then we can go to the father.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes.
Your eyes must be in the camera, Mr. Kasonso.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question about the delivery unit constituted by the president, I have a different view. The unit, the constituting that unit in itself is not wrong. It is good, but I think it was constituted way too early. In what I heard from all the contributions, what this unit is, it's a supervisory unit of permanent secretaries and ministers and everything the president wants to do. The running of the government in Zambia is run by permanent secretaries. They are the ones that run the government, and all programs and all developments and programs are done through ministries and other parastatal organizations. And if this delivery unit is a spokesperson for the president, it means they are the eyes of the president supervising them. Now, looking at the time that the government came into power and having a mandate of 5 years, my point is, if it is done as also a precursor for what other things the government wants to do, that is better. But if it's explaining what they have done, I think the period is too soon, because if that is done as to give people evidence or explain to the people what the government has done, and hence they'll be asking for another term, and they have a mandate of 5 years, I think it was done way too early. That is my take on the delivery unit. Just because of the government has ministries that do deliver these things, and also other parastatal and other units that do deliver this, and those units have the communication departments and the PR, and also the way it's been running even with other governments. But bringing in a new way of doing things is not wrong. My take is just too early, that it was done too early. We are yet to see more things that were promised, and they still have a lot of time to work on those things that they promised, and other things that they didn't promise that they see fit that they can do for the people of Zambia to appreciate. That's the delivery unit. On diplomacy, yes, I'll echo your point when you said with diplomacy, I'll go with the president. I have seen the president making so many making trips to engage in other countries in bringing development and making those agreements. I think that he's been doing a good job in trying to engage in diplomacy to help the country, and making either unilateral or one-on-one with countries. I think the engagement for me is welcome, where the president himself, I know that he could delegate, but he has taken an approach that he himself is the one who goes in to make these deals. And if he's a deal maker, I think that is a good thing. That would be my contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Kasonso. That was brilliant. Father, on delivery unit and diplomacy.
Well, I think my position on delivery unit, I find it very difficult because there's a very big danger of seeing that organ as a duplicate of some responsibility in one way or another. And I don't know already the president himself, not now, but the other communication, he mentioned it. He said some of the ministers would comment, "What are you doing? What do you want to do here? What are you coming to do here?" And Dr. Kasonso, I'm not a prophet, but I might interpret the feelings of the ministers and some of these members of parliament. When you see these women and ladies coming from the office of the president, like the diplomacy unity, it's not easy. It's not going to be very easy. It's not going to be easy. I have to confess. It's not going to be. It's now myself. For me, the solution is what the Zambian people have been asking. If one ministry is not functioning, I think time is already ripe to do the reshuffles. That's my position. If a ministry is not functioning, instead of sending the diplomacy and all these people, I think the president needed to do some reshuffles. And I think 1-2 ministries needed that. Not because I hate the people who are in the structures, but if President Hakainde Hichilema wants to do something different, Dr. Kasonso, if things are not moving. We are already 2 years down the line. 2 years, almost 2 years down the line. Next year we will start campaigning. Next year campaigning will begin. And Dr. Kesonso, you know what it means. Next year, whatever they are going to do, open minds, open this, open that, it will be seen as campaign method. So what I can say to the government is, I think if something is wrong, some ministry, they are not working, they are not functioning, the president is supposed to be very careful and very straightforward to do some reshuffles, I think. We need some reshuffles.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Pombo. I think I concede to the point that the 12 points are so long.
Yeah.
If we can agree that we come back tomorrow at the same time, we will continue with this program discussing the presidential press conference as for the NDG, the New Dawn government. So we say that we summarize the points of what the president is informing us in 12 points. So, but today we've only been able to tackle 5. So can we, gentlemen, agree to come back tomorrow and finish our points at 20 hours Zambian time?
Dr. Kasonso, don't forget that tomorrow is my day with, one-on-one,
No, one-on-one.
So unless
one-on-one is at 22 hours. We'll continue with one-on-one.
unless we agree to say 20 hours, yes, then 21 hours, we proceed with one-on-one.
No, one-on-one is at 22 hours.
22 hours tomorrow. So we agree that we push one-on-one.
One-on-one has got no problems. It will not be affected. What I'm
okay, fine.
Gentlemen must
then I'm for it. I'm for it.
We need their wisdom to inform the Zambian public and the president. These are highly competent and honorable people that the Republic of Zambia needs to hear from. Yeah, so I can't rush them or stick them into a 4-hour show and then they go back to their wives, they are all tired. No. So I need to bring them back. I'm excluding you, Father Parika, point Chika wife.
No. It's Grappa.
Please just come back tomorrow and we will continue with evaluating the president's presidential conference that he did yesterday. We'll start it at 20 hours. And then Robbie's one-on-one, his favorite program, because he's the owner of that show. We'll continue on thereafter.
Robbie, I'll follow you. I don't know what the one-on-one program, but I'll follow you.
Anybody else?
I'll appreciate. We are having somebody on one-on-one tomorrow with Dr. Kasonso. He's coming from, Bafada. Mwalisha kulufunza.
Yeah.
Kode from guys, money accountant. To adina nkupa university.
Nomba kulufunza guys, kwali ama gardens, kuli ama farms, kulufunza kuli ama farms.
Namasabi sana.
Namasabi.
Gentlemen, in concluding this show, if you are therefore Atlantic, it is a very important issue. If we're not robbing at Waisapari one-on-one, we always look for a point that the government is not talking about. We always leave the show with a recommendation. And I'm sure Mr. Kasonso will enjoy that as part of his PhD studies. One issue, I'll say it because we don't have much time, we have to conclude the show shortly. One issue I felt the president did not comment on, the mental health.
Vakasonso natapo kumipusha ino question nomba mwalanda natapo kuchokwati usheba Kasonso Professor Kasonso, what do you think about mental health in our country? Because this thing has affected a lot of people, and yet we do not recognize that. tumona kwati amashiru abo tumona baletora mungungulu eba mental health without realizing that na abantu baferefe tiae alensha ale muna kwati executive president kacha alikwata mental health. So I said, what is your take? Let me take it this way. What is your take about mental health in Zambia?
Before bakasonsuza barasuka ifwe kwa Africa nifwe twaleba abantu ati mashiru nifwe otuweba ati mashiru
emkwai
but Dr. Kasonso Bachilanda, it's mental health whatever tuweba ati mashiru. Those people, they have mental disorder. Mental disorder doesn't mean that omuntu lishiru ba Dr. Kasonso mukisungu ishiru kulanda cha
mental health case.
No mental health ishiru ni ba Dr. Kasonso ishiru
mad person
maomfo wa Dr. Kasonso ishiru ni mad person. Muzambia tapa abapo certify balaba mukutola if into papa chisoso at is a mad person tapa nobody has certified it. We just call them they are mad person, but those people have mental illness which need professionals, experts to identify. And because there's one of the people in Zambia who talks too much, who according to me ka problem aka can even touch very closely, but the tindande number
vafada umfweni tesi vafada inanga na asama fyakanoso mwandisha vafada. I'm sorry Dr. Kasonso vafada Muzambia tuchilokwe wati lila nampusa partial payment ya ingira waya mkusenda bakubalansisha nishina mano yafuma chirenda na masha mkupwa amano ya bwela chira na asa makanwa na chindande pa buteko fo bwikere nishina fulungana kuta mouth diarrhea ushe nishina mental health mental illness ushe
iyo tukeza tampira pa mailo bonse mukabwele pa 20 hours and time
Basmangolwa.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Chair, bushanga na mwamunepechi robi ya samakano. Pa, nishimwaisho kwati, efi alihanda, fi alapa puse chalo. Nishini mental health, mental illness,
Yeah, but one of the things that I would concur with everybody talking about not having had addressed the issue of mental health, but the president attempted to talk about health in general and what attempts have been made to try and improve the health sector. And that also includes the health. You may not have singled out to say, okay, we have a huge problem about mental health, but there are many other diseases or illnesses that also needs to be discussed if it is to single out, epilepsy or these people with lame children and, disorder and that kind of thing, they need also to be paid attention. There's a lot of neglect for those children that are disabled, and there is no attention that is being paid with regards to that. So, but he touched on areas of health and what efforts that have been put and the huge budget that has been put to that. If we've singled out as mental health, then we are also talking about those people abakwata diarrhea ya pakanwa ni mental health. Then they need also to go kuchainama no pia vamona problem really.
Verbal diarrhea.
It's an emergency. It's an emergency.
It's an emergency, yes. I concur. It's an emergency.
It's an emergency. We need paramedics to pick those such people.
My love, once for 20 hours Zambian time to cover kuza puisha 12 points ya kwa HH.
But I was going to propose, Doc, that Namachiachita line up Yonse from number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9. Then when we are going to let you come.
Mama Mike mukapokelele. Not to yes line up. To post no post up. Tamule muna ile isapo. Yeah. So, but ma D. To let tamba fena letter D. If it was mtu alanda kufita simplify kufika muli letter 1D defamation of the president, letter 1-2 death penalty, debt resolution, delivery.
Yachfula, doctor.
Yeah. Party because if
Mama doctor, Mama thing to 75, 45 minutes. Mama doctor. Mama doctor, Mama to 75, 1 minute.
But na from a doctor, so alikuwa tabanya lumefwe.
Vafadha. Mwandishi PhD pia pilibula Muzambia mwana. Permanent head damage.
Mkwae mwamane. Doctor Kasonzo.
Mwana kama point ali 75. Permanent head damage. 75 points, muni 5 minutes. Muna wakati umuntu ali nomo.
Yeah, so but yeah. So anyway, I thank you, gentlemen, for participating in this discussion. But let's pick it up tomorrow at 20 hours, the same time. We are going to finish the other 7. Party direct investments from abroad, party distortion of the cost living by inflation from prices, inflation from abroad, party direct intervention into the family budget, Pariama drugs, Kuzambia, drugs, digital platforms, distribution of agriculture implements. So to go because in it was concluded mental health. Amashilo Kuzambia, shile pa social media. Fulide pa social media. Yele tuko buteko.
Chamusevanya.
Uteko bwapera abantu akapia more money in your pockets kulingana basatefe bayandire uteko bwaya fokotero pia bwapera abantu amashuru yasa tukana kana kulupia kere kubantu mental health Muzambia now in the next time kukalandepo
is serious. Yeah, serious.
It's an emergency. It's an emergency.
Amashuru ele control the discussion ya chalo.
Yes. 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 You're right.
It's an emergency.
Yeah, you're right.
Tufuyetu awela mayetu asa komaila kwapa. Na mental health vulwele te entertainment.
Yes.
Yes, so president agari landilepo pali mental health. Ibo mwetu alisunga pa mashiro.
I think program we put on but to get in background.
Everything.
Vas mangolo valero da twingi in background vas mangolo.
Nasanga mashuru ya lelanda. Ndio karatani. Mashuru kwa county ya shupa. Counting.
Twingi in background vas mangolo valero twingi in background.
Nami ngiyaba afuma mu accountants bavutuke kosa counting. Bova kufunda kosa counting. Wasanga mashuru ya lelanda lebe pa abantu.
Yashupeyu.
Mukabwele mailo tukalipira amashiro ubuteko amashiro bapombo
bafula amashiro
bala bifunya kuro museri tamwe mkulime bala kubangwe ulo ikwe amashiro kumushikusansya kwale boko yabika ikoli lyale don't leave mad people on the internet, Mr. President.
Mwayaposa na mumana
Kwani yabika mwikoli ngako kola mwikoli abambi bale poka mano babwera no kupaupa bala mukiresa mkampolombo
na upoko uyu kurwa pulo na chumfoyo
but bala monekera ne democracy mulibika amashiru pa internet abantu wale tumulupia ku mashiru. Who does that?
Sure. Bwafya.
Ichachira kwisa.
Iseni mu background nomba, iseni mu background.
Pokulanda munchincha chilanya narikaripa. Kama taxes yaba America kuno IRS tax code yalishuka.
Yeah.
IRS tax code. Na sanga. Chavi. Yalipa internet yalebe pa abantu.
Doctor wesherimo mutima. Wesherimo
mutima.
Wesherimo mutima.
Amashiru ayo bayatwale ku China ma obayakake. We are
Oh.
not
Omufyashi wa mano Hakainde Hichilema naishiba ena nyamutekenya.
Not for social media. We cannot be a country controlled by insanity.
Bali wesu bali uama mufyashi wa mano bali Hakainde Hichilema ena nyamutekenya. Aleto kwati imini ninapena awe apata mwaimine tapadi bwino kapie pantanshi pantu padiko na menshi ngani mwashara padia mwala noko na menshi pantu wapanga na mishapa padia mashiru alechilo kwa chapanga na mishapa padia mashiru katupitili ayi mafada
Zambia yali kwa tabana baiko na ifu ila Zambia tununga puku bengo tulabengo kusolve problems ya Zambia why yale control la conversation ya chalo.
Your problem, doctor, your problem is Kalamba, Chachin.
Either mucha inama or mukaliati. We are a noble country. Nifoto apokeo buntunga wa bonse everybody in our region. Nifoto apokeo buntunga weso. Bonse abena Namibia ngo bale pitana no tumasuti bale jererenka. Nifoto apokeo buntunga. Abena
Nava South Africa.
Chalo cheso.
Nava South Africa. Bonse.
South Africa bonse ngo apokeo buntunga. No mangole kama shule cha control discourse ya chalo.
Bas mangola bakana sana kwati iyo tatu wasuminite sio
Aleri shimieni tu atotera thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Honorable, thank you so much. Wonderful to see you. Doctor,
we appreciate.
Mr. Thank you very much. We appreciate. I appreciate very much your company.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is mine, Father. Pleasure is mine, Chair. Pleasure is mine, Professor.
Thank you for watching Bonano TV today. We spoke about the main points of the presidential press conference, and we have carved out of that conference 12 days. But my friends had too much to say, so we'll continue tomorrow. So we talked about the defamation of the president, the death penalty, debt resolution, delivery unit, diplomacy, and we were just about to dive into direct investments from abroad, but we'll continue tomorrow with all my friends. They have counted me down. Come back to Bonano TV's trending news and analysis tomorrow. And I want to say thank you to Honorable Simangoloa, Robbie, spokesman wa Kateka Wakuntanshi, Navayama Baba Kateka. Thank you for everybody, and let's say goodbye to our people, and we'll come back tomorrow at the same time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Au revoir.